So you've asked why it's important in a democratic society for everyone to know about rights. And that's a really good question. I think that sometimes people believe they know about their rights, but then when you question them more closely, there's a lot of misunderstanding. I think that rights are, in some ways, they can be conceived as being tools, because if you don't understand your rights, you're not going to know that you have the right to complain when things go wrong, or when you're in a situation that is basically unfair. I think that all of the important social changes that have come about over time have come about when somebody has started out by saying, wait a minute, that's not fair. And we know that from a young age, children really do have concepts of fairness. So it's wonderful to be able to build upon that. And when somebody says that's not fair, they really are asking about rights, or at least expressing something about their rights or about somebody else's rights. So I believe that you can build on this from a very early age, and that you should, because we need to have an engaged society. We need to have a society in which people know they can make a difference. And that's one of the reasons that the Civil Liberties Education Program has been so successful. It's because it looks at what people know when they know it, and then takes them further toward that knowledge. So, you know, another question that has been asked is, you know, the problems in our society are huge, and we can see that one person, you know, can rarely make a massive difference. And I think there are a few things I think that. First of all, I think that's true, which is why I believe that among our rights is freedom of expression, which means you don't just mutter in the back of your cupboard, but you are communicating. Freedom of association, which means that you can get together with like-minded people, and the right to peacefully protest. So you have the right to dissent, and you have the right to peacefully get together. These are the rights that help other people learn what you know. So if you are saying you can make a difference, you can. Every one of us can make a difference, but it sure helps if they do it in groups, because we can hear louder voices when people are speaking together. We can use media to communicate, and we can get people to understand that they need to speak to one another, that it's not simply a matter of standing up and yelling, that's not fair. It's a matter of truly considering what happens when our rights conflict with one another, and how are we going to move ahead with that. There's a Talmudic story which, you know, is based on the question that you've asked about one person having difficulty making a difference, and it basically says, it's not given to us to complete the job, but nor is it given to us to do nothing. So, you know, we need to be able to start. We need to be able to understand that we do have a role. We may not be able to make things perfect. In fact, well, since we're working with people, we won't be able to make things perfect, but we can make a difference, and we can make things better. And when I ask particularly young women about voting, somebody who has recently voted in an election, for example, I ask them, well, did you walk out of the election polling booth saying, well, thank goodness I have the right to vote because my grandmother or my great-grandmother didn't have that right? And the answer is no. Almost none of us think of this, but the reason we have this right is because somebody started out by saying that's not fair, and it took a long time and hard work, but the change was made. So each person who participated in that was part of the picture of making a difference.